The following video shows what happens when an idiot has a camera. Viewer discretion is advised. J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson were not involved in the making of this video. Any anger or dissatisfaction felt is purely coincidental.
Well, I've seen the first 2 episodes, and I didn't want to say anything before I watched the second one. It seems to me like whoever made the creative decisions on this show didn't know what they were doing. Because on the one hand, they're trying to use nostalgia and trying to pull in the fans from the next generation and the movies from the 90s. And on the other hand, they've completely changed the aesthetic of the show compared to the next generation. It really bothers me that they brought back Jean-Luc Picard and Data, and from the trailers we know that Riker will be in it and maybe some more characters like 7 of 9. And on the other hand, they've changed the entire feel of the show and even the feel of the main character, Jean-Luc Picard. It's just another example of something that is remade in the worst possible way, and it's starting to feel as if it's not accidental. It's starting to feel as if there's some kind of really not exactly a conspiracy, but something is seriously wrong with the meetings that take place before these shows or these movies are made. It's not feeling very much like it's a coincidence that they're ruining everything. The next generation, a lot of it feels, they had flat screen monitors, and they had touch screens, and they had all of this stuff that we are currently, seeing in our everyday lives. But it felt more futuristic. It felt more futuristic because of the aesthetic style that they chose. And they didn't bother to show us close up exactly what they were doing when they were touching everything and working things out. They just left it to our imagination to a large extent. Now with this new show, everything they're using feels very familiar. It feels like it's the same pseudoscience that they use in most movies. Think back to that Tom Cruise movie, Minority Report, and how those screens look like. Nobody's gonna use see-through screens. This is total bullshit. When you're browsing the internet, or when you're browsing your personal files or whatever, you don't want the guy who's sitting across of you seeing exactly what you're doing. You want some form of privacy. And it's ridiculous to think that we're going to have these see-through holographic screens so that everybody around us sees exactly what we're doing, who we're stalking on Facebook, and what porn we're watching, or what private things we're doing. It's ridiculous. It's never going to happen like that. The fact that they didn't have that on the next generation is a bonus, because that's really how it will stay in the future. Our mobile phones are an example of how it will stay in the future. We can see what we're doing. The person on the other side can't see what we're doing. So these holographic screens that they introduce in all of these futuristic films, I think they're ridiculous. I don't know why they keep showing these things to us when it's quite clearly not a practical thing to show us. More than that, the background will then obviously influence how clearly you can see whatever you're looking at. And I don't think it's just ridiculous to take what is supposed to be based an extension of the next generation and completely wipe away all the aesthetics of that show and try to give us aesthetics that look exactly the same as every other sci-fi movie and every other sci-fi show in existence. It's not futuristic, it's boring, and it's stupid. The other thing I'm really bothered by is Picard himself and the age. He has aged in real life and in the show by exactly the same number of years, but he's aged, they could have pretended it wasn't just 20 years later or 30 years later, I'm not exactly sure. They could have pretended it was 100 years later, because I remember Dr. McCoy was in a show and he was 190 years old or something. In any case, what I'm trying to say is, in the future, with medical technology being what it is, the life expectancy, the lifespan of humans, it has been improved. And so people don't age by 20 years in 20 years, they age by 1 year in 20 years. So if they wanted to make Picard an old man, they should have pretended it's 100 years in the future. And if it was 100 years in the future, that would have been a better decision to change everything, like the goddamn stupid Romulans, who now look exactly like humans except for the stupid ears. Some of them have the funny forehead, some of them don't have the funny forehead. That's not explained either. And what the hell is with the sexy Romulan that just suddenly appears and he's this tall, sexy, sweaty, hairy, bearded guy that the lady, the girl, the main protagonist, well, the second main protagonist, I guess, after Jean-Luc Picard, the second main protagonist, seeing as we killed the first one, the woman in the fight with the whatever they were, the Secret Service guys who spit acid for some reason. God damn it, who comes up with this crap? In any case, yeah, he has to be the sexy, sweaty, hairy, bearded guy who looks and talks and behaves exactly as a sexy, sweaty, bearded human. The only exception being that he has the weird ears. What the hell? Romulans were not like that. They weren't just sexy humans who happened to have funny ears. There was more than that. Their skin tone was different. Their behavior was different. They didn't have beards, as far as I remember. I don't remember any of them with beards. I'll have to rewatch all of the shows to remember if that's accurate. But they weren't basically humans with funny ears. So Romulans, oh my God! Not only the Romulans, the F word. That's right. Why the fuck? Why the hell do they use the F word? They didn't use the F word in the Star Trek series, and if this is an extension of the Next Generation, if this is a progression of that, we've gone back. People were more sophisticated and more evolved, and now we've gone back, and now we're cursing and using swear words. Really, whoever came up with this, I don't know. Again, I don't know what they were thinking. It's as if they're going out now intentionally. It's as if they're going out of their way intentionally to piss off the fans in every franchise. It seems like it's not a coincidence anymore. It seems like they actually have meetings, and what they say is, what would the actual fans not like the least? Yeah? They say, what would they like the least? Yeah, they'd like Romulans with hairy chests and beards who go around having sex with androids. Oh, fine, yeah, exactly. That'll be our first episode, plot. They won't like Jean-Luc Picard looking like a bitter old man. Oh, fantastic. We'll put that into the first episode too. They won't like the Federation being... This is what's wrong with sequels. This is what's wrong with everything today. We take something that was almost, that ended on a good note, on a high note, and then we have to say, well, actually, it didn't go so well after that. Think Terminator 2. Terminator 2 finishes, and Terminator 2 basically says, yep, we fixed the future, everything is fine. Terminator 2 basically tells us there's nothing to worry about, and then the next, I don't know how many movies come out, and we actually say, oh wait, actually, the AI figured out another way to screw our future, or that was a completely different timeline, or whatever. I don't even get Terminator anymore. It's so bad. Star Wars, yeah, we finished with the rebels beating the Empire, and then it's, oh no, you know what, it didn't actually go so well for the galaxy. It's the First Order came, or the Sith came back, or I don't know what, but there's no more Jedi. Everything went downhill. Yeah, we had Luke, yeah, we had Leia, and it looked as if the Jedi were gonna come back gradually, but in the end, it was all, bullshit. We got your hopes up, and then actually we're just gonna shit all over that and go back and say, well, nothing good actually happened from that storyline. It all went to shit, and now it's the same with Star Trek. Sure, Deep Space Nine ended with Sisko sort of in limbo, or I can't exactly remember what happened with him, but he didn't have a happily ever after, or a typical happily ever after. Voyager got back to Sector 001. That was a happy ending. all good things, the Next Generation's final episode was a fantastic episode. Was just okay. Dude, if you're gonna go all the way there, you might as well go for it. The Next Generation ended with a fantastic episode, a very clever episode that just I'm glad they saved that to be the final episode. And even though Q is not my favorite character in Star Trek, it was very well done, that episode. And now we've ruined Star Trek now. We ruined it first with Discovery, which I'll rant about in a second. We ruined it first with Discovery, a show I look forward to 0%. And now we've ruined, we always thought, well, that's not really Star Trek. That's like a remake, a reimagining. It's not based on the same characters. It's not really worth fighting about whether or not it's Star Trek. It's somebody's fresh idea of what Star Trek should be, and okay, fine. It's not what we've become used to with the 5 series. I don't know. Do we include the animated Star Trek series? I don't know if we should. Let's include that too. I've never watched that, if I'm perfectly honest, and I imagine, however, that it's quite faithful to the original Star Trek series. So let's assume that one has no issues of this kind, and it's faithful to what Trekkies enjoy. But this one, Picard, why did they make this one now? Why did they make it? Why did they make it? Just to piss us off again? Why did they make it? They made it just to piss us off. Anyway, guys, Star Trek, just like Star Wars, ruined by the creative decisions made, ruined by the directions they took it towards. It's unfathomable that they sit down, they greenlight these productions, they greenlight investing money, paying actors, paying cinematographers, paying, building sets, going through the trouble of giving sci-fi fans something to love, and then they make decisions that almost intentionally make these things impossible to love. I'm definitely a Trekkie, and I have to say I was looking forward to Star Trek Discovery and was quite impressed with the first episode. I thought, okay, they're going to reintroduce the Klingons as the menace in the galaxy and the main antagonist race to the Federation. And I thought, okay, this is all right. But then it became all about, I don't know, social justice warrior crap, and tardigrades, and the story. There was no Star Trek episodes where almost each and every episode was self-contained. You had episodes that were quite mysterious, and if you ask me, the Next Generation was quite dark. But the one thing that all of the series had in common was a strong captain. A captain who was ultimately the good guy in all of these series. And one thing they did wrong with Star Trek Discovery is they made the captain a bad guy in season 1. I hope you already know that, and this is not spoiling it for you. But in addition to that, they made the captain in season 2, if I'm not mistaken, a temporary character, because he's temporarily assigned from the Enterprise to the Discovery, and that's not what we want. We want a captain that is the main character in the series. We want the captain to be the main character in the series. I didn't indicate just now, and I apologize to the guy. I generally indicate, but I'm too busy being angry. Women on TV and cinema have always been strong characters. Okay? When I grew up with Sigourney Weaver kicking ass in Aliens and in that franchise. Sarah Connor was taking down Terminators. Captain Catherine Janeway was leading the Starship Voyager through the Delta Quadrant. I mean, we had Trinity from Matrix. We had all of these badass female characters, and then for some reason it becomes 2015, whatever it was, 2016, and we're being told that, you know what, there are no strong female characters, and we need to start showing some strong female characters. Fine, show some strong female characters, but not at the expense of good storytelling. I mean, if you think about it, Star Trek Discovery came out at the same time as the Orville, and the Orville was fantastic, and it felt more like Star Trek. I know everybody said this already, but it's my turn. It felt more like Star Trek than Star Trek did. And so once we had the Orville and we knew that if they wanted to, they could make something that felt like Star Trek, and that was very satisfying and very well done, and the humor was spot on, and even the action sequences. I mean, that space battle with the, what were they called? With the robotic race. That was just fantastic. I mean, where the hell did that come from? We had a fantastic space battle in the Orville of all things. So Orville showed us that there was a round table where they sat down and they discussed what they wanted to do with Discovery, and they said, okay, we're gonna make it all about strong female characters, strong leaders, strong female leaders, and it's not really gonna be about Star Trek. It's not gonna be about the future or the Federation or anything like that. Our focus will be strong female characters. It's so dull, and watching those episodes, you don't watch them, you don't look forward to them. We looked forward to the Next Generation, and I still watch the Next Generation. I'm currently back on season 5 somewhere now. I'm at probably episode 22. I still watch the Next Generation over and over and over. I have to force myself to watch Star Trek Discovery because it's so crap, and it's not because I'm a misogynist pig. It's because there's nothing interesting about it. I'm literally struggling to think, other than the awesome special effects and a very nice space battle in the first 2 episodes with the Klingons. I'm struggling to remember anything about any of the episodes that I watched. Oh, and the tardigrade, for which they've been sued. I understand that they stole that idea from somebody. But other than those very basic elements of the series, I don't remember. I'm not gonna go back and watch it again. I basically, I'm in the wrong lane. Oh well. Every time I drive this car, there's always a helicopter above me. Don't know what that's all about. I mean, I stole it 4 years ago. I don't know why they're still chasing me. Ooh, you saw the shadow of it. The owner didn't want it back by now. I mean, what's the point of me giving it back to the police now?
No idiots were harmed during the making of this video.